Greetings comic book fans and welcome to my comic book reviews for the second week of April 2015. We've got 17 books to get through this week. It's of course the week where we kind of get into the Convergence books. So we've got that coming up. So the way I'm going to structure my video this week, we're going to start off with Marvel. We've got 4 books I think from Marvel this week, a small Marvel week for me. We're then going to review the indie books. Then I will go through the DC books and all the Convergence goodness or badness, we'll see what we got. And then we've got pick of the week, and we're going to close the video with company of the week. So without further ado, let's get to those reviews. So first up in my reviews this week we have Marvel, and only 4 books from Marvel this week, which is a small week. I don't know if it's because a lot of books are finishing for Secret Wars and maybe that's why I've got less, or if it's just I've dropped a lot of Marvel lately. I'm not sure which of the two it is, but it is what it is. So we're going to kick things off with Star Wars Darth Vader issue number 4, and this was a really strong issue. Really enjoyed this. This issue, Darth Vader wants a secret army to do his bidding. So he's put together this kind of team that are kind of dark versions of the rebels, and Dr. Alpha, as I said, we need to go to Geonosis. There's a droid army we can utilize there. So they go to Geonosis. There's a really interesting scene with Vader where he kind of reminisces at the last time he was on Geonosis, was like him and Padme declared their love for each other because they thought they were going to die. So it's a kind of a bittersweet thing to go back. The way they're writing Vader in here is really good because we get no inner monologue, we get not much dialogue at all from Vader, and that really helps. Despite him being the central character in the book, it helps keep a certain mystery about Vader that I think works well for the character. You don't want to be getting into his head all the time and all of these feelings and everything. I think it would take something away from the character, but there's a nice kind of flashback to him and Padme kissing. That kind of illustrates the point of that this is a bittersweet experience for him to go back to Geonosis. One of the things I'm liking about what the Star Wars books are doing is they're kind of building on the films, because one of the things I loved about the prequels, and you don't hear that very often, people loving something about the prequels, but one of the things I did really love was the fact that Palpatine was never known, was never exposed as being a Sith Lord. Only the Jedi, and the few people knew that he was Darth Sidious. To the most of the galaxy, he was just Senator Palpatine, who became Chancellor Palpatine, who became the Emperor. And so they don't really know about him at all, and I like that. And in this kind of he doesn't want any links to him, because he basically set up the Clone Wars so he could get into power, and he doesn't want nobody to link him to that, so he took out all of his allies. So you get to see what he done here to Geonosis and to its inhabitants to stop it coming out that they designed the Death Star for him and give and give the droid army. So I like how they kind of expand on things from the films. I really like what they do here. Dr. Alpha is a very interesting character. You can see by her forthrightness, that's the part of that reminds me of Princess Leia. Princess Leia is very forthright, very direct, and you see that here with the Doctor. When she thinks she's outlived her usefulness and that Vader's going to kill her, she's quite upfront about the whole thing. So I find her a very interesting character. She doesn't quite feel like a Star Warsy kind of character, but she's an interesting character for the book, and I'm interested to see where her story's going to go. For me, the star of this issue though was 000. He's kind of like an evil C-3PO, and just the way that he is, you could imagine Tony Daniel's voice being this almost psychotic robot. It's really good. I really liked his character, and there's some of the best moments in the issue were him. The art as well, I thought, was just a great. Again, Salvatore LaRocca is just doing a great job on the book, and I like that we picked up on a plot point from issue 1 that we went back to. So that's really cool, and it feels like the story's all coming together, and it takes it as Vader's got his army. Now the story's going into another direction, which I'm really interested to see where it's going to go. Really enjoying this, and I'm going to give Darth Vader issue number 4 5 stars out of 5. So moving right along now, next up we have Spider-Woman, issue number 6, and what a transformation this book has gone through. You know, issue 5 and 6 are just like so far ahead of the first 4 issues in quality. They're just fantastic. It feels a totally different book, but it's totally awesome. I really like the story. It's a fun story. It's what Marvel, I think, are the best at. They're telling these stories of these street level kind of heroes that have like danger and have kind of fun in them, but at the same time the characters, like in this, Spider-Woman's still adapting to not being this great Avenger who's dealing with aliens and stuff, and she's adapting to doing this again, and she makes mistakes, and it makes the heroes more relatable when they make mistakes and they're not perfect. You kind of can empathize with them a bit more because we all make mistakes, so it makes them almost more human, the fact that they're not getting everything right every minute. I like the team up of Ben Ulrich and Spider-Woman. I think they make a great team. I'm loving the outfit. When I first saw the design for the new outfit, I didn't really like it, but the way it's so functional in here, that it's a jacket that she could just walk down the street and it doesn't stand out that much. I like that there's that functionality to it, where her old outfit, she just, wherever she was, she stood out. Yeah, all in all, this is just a really great book. If you fell off it because like the first few issues weren't your bag, really give it another go, because it's really transformed into a really great book. And I was going to call it Transformers then. I'm going to give Spider-Woman, issue number 6, 5 stars out of 5. So moving right along to Hulk, issue number 14. This is the rematch as Red Hulk takes on Doc Green. I'm really loving the direction that Jerry Duggan's gone on, and I can understand some people maybe complaining because he sets up all these kind of plot points, and then the story will take an unexpected twist, and that plot point seems to be forgotten about, and you're kind of like, well, where are we going with that? I'm hoping all these things are going to come together at the end, but it does make it feel more real, because in real life, often we'll have our plans and we'll be going one way, and then something will happen and we'll just totally switch and things will change and things won't get picked up. That's real life. So there is that kind of quality that's bringing that realism into it, but at the same time, when you read the story, you do like everything to get tied up. The art here by Mark Bagley just gets better and better. Really great stuff that he's doing. Some of the layouts here are just brilliant. Really great battle. It's a bit of a quick read because a lot of it is just this big battle between the two Hulks. But it's still, I really enjoy this. I'm loving the direction of everything, and the unexpected turn at the end just has me really hooked for next issue. And I'm going to give Hulk issue number 14 4 stars out of 5. So our final Marvel book of the week is All New Hawkeye, issue number 2. And this is just an art tour de force. This Ramon Perez on this is just brilliant. So we have these bits here, which is like the childhood story of Clint and Barney and how they came to be in the circus and to be under the care of the Swordmaster. And then we have this story, which, like, the art is totally different. You would totally think it's two artists, because that's the modern day story with the two Hawkeyes kind of trying to rescue these kids from Hydra. And you would think that it's two, but it's not. It's one artist, and the fact that he is able to do two parts of the story that look so different is just shows what a talented artist he is, and it's just magnificent. Out of the two stories, I'm enjoying the circus one a lot more. Seeing the childhood of Clint is a part of the thing that I'm really enjoying, and that at the moment is the thing that for me is carrying the book. This other half of the story is alright. It has the vibe of the Fraction Hawkeye run, as that kind of like there's a kind of fun feel to it, even though there's bad stuff going on. There's just this whole fun feel, where the flashback one doesn't have a fun feel at all. So I'm enjoying both, but I think I'm enjoying that childhood one a lot more. A good issue. I don't think it was as strong as the first, and I do think the older story's carrying it somewhat. But I'm going to give All New Hawkeye issue number 2 4 stars out of 5. So those are my Marvel books for this week. Next up, we're going to review the indie books. So here we are now with the review of the indie books I picked up this week. We've got 6 indie books, 1 from Boom Studios, 2 from Valiant, and then 3 from Image. So kicking it off with Boom Studios, we have Robocop issue number 10, written by the excellent Joshua Williamson. And this was another really good issue. We get to find out at last the link between Killian and the old man, the head of OCP. And it is a doozy. I didn't see this coming at all, and I like the story. We get to see Killian kind of go for the mayor in present day. Robocop is very much a kind of secondary character in his own book. It's much more, this book seems to be the more Anne Lewis book, as she's investigating Killian and gets the link. She's a lot less annoying this issue, as she kind of lets other people she goes their route, because her way of doing things isn't working. So I did like that at least she's beginning to learn that her way isn't working, so that's better. I would like to see Robocop have a bigger role, and hopefully now that we know the link between Killian and the old man, that's going to lead to Robocop taking a much bigger role in the book. But yeah, really interesting story, a nice twist to it. Still really enjoying it. Things do seem to be getting from bad to worse, though, especially where we see what Killian does at the end here, as things look like they're going to get very worse. So I'm going to give Robocop issue number 10 4 stars out of 5. So next up we jump over to Valiant, and we have Imperium issue number 3. This issue we get to see a lot more of Toyo Arada, and he is a very bad man. He's not likable at all. His goal of kind of world peace is a very good goal to have. But the methods he's going by, he's not nice at all. He uses people, disregards people. And you kind of you feel the setup of this book is who around him is going to turn on him, because he's not a guy that creates a lot of loyalty. He does bad things to people, yet he's working to the greater good. But you've got to think of, at some point, one of these bad things is going to come back on him. I really love the character of Sunlight and Snow, otherwise known as Mitch Major. A real tragic character, but at the same time you think what it would mean if Arada hadn't done to him what he'd done. It would probably spell doom for all of us. But I like him, and the fact that he's like a character that only fights through necessity, that he doesn't enjoy killing and fighting, and he'd much rather be a scientist, makes him a very interesting character. Was disappointed with what happens to Gravedog. I really like that character we were introduced to last issue, and I kind of hoped that he was going to become part of Arada's team, but what Arada does to him is pretty bad, and I was a bit disappointed with where his story ends. Really still enjoying this book. Arada is a very unlikable character. You can't really root for him, but there's enough of a supporting cast that are interesting, that keeps you involved. And I'm going to give Imperium issue number 3 4 stars out of 5. So next up, sticking with Valiant, we have Rai issue number 8. This is the conclusion to the current arc, and what a conclusion. Everything comes together. Spylock gets there back from Earth with the former version of Rai that he brought with him from Earth. We have the current version of Rai, plus the two sides, the Raddies and oh god, what were they called? The Raddies and the Positrons, I think they were called. Yeah, Positrons, the PTs. We have the two sides that they've brought together, and everybody kind of strikes to try and take Father down. Will they succeed is the big thing, and throughout the issue you're not sure how this battle is going to go, and it's really exciting. The art is just epic and really illustrates this great big battle really well. The ending is just an amazing conclusion to an awesome issue. The only negative I've got to say is we've got to wait till August till we get the next issue of this. But this was really great. Really enjoyed this. Fantastic conclusion. And I'm going to give Rai issue number 8 5 stars out of 5. So next up, jumping to Image, we have Saga issue number 27. A very different issue this. Last issue we had Marco. He took those drugs. What is it called? I think it's called the Fade Away or something. Anyway, he took a bad batch, and he's living his life backwards. And if he gets to being a baby again, he's gonna be stuck in his own mind. So we have Prince Robot and Gus, who have to find a way to save him, and they make such a great pair. It's brilliant. So we're kind of switching between Marco reliving his life backwards, and in the present and in the real world we've got Prince Robot and Gus trying to help him. I really like that. Prince Robot is just like totally disgusted that they took these drugs, and he just at first doesn't want nothing to do with them. Gus is just an awesome character, and anytime we get to see more of him is a good thing. A very interesting insight into Marco, and it's a different kind of issue where we just concentrate on one part of the story rather than jumping through all the different threads, which was nice for a change. Wouldn't want this every issue, but it was nice and really gave us an interesting insight to Marco. And like I say, Gus is just awesome. So I'm going to give Saga issue 27 4 stars out of 5. So also from Image this week we have Birthright issue number 6. Mikey and Brennan are on the run as they go to like the next target. It's nice that we get to see Mikey and Brennan just get to spend time with each other and get to have some fun. We get to see the physical manifestation of the king that has kind of infected Mikey, and he doesn't know that Brennan knows yet, so that's really interesting, the dynamic there. We get to see the mother and father, Wendy and Aaron, have a nice moment together before there's a new wrinkle added to the story, which is good. And the ending to this just made me really excited for the next issue. All in all, this continued to be an excellent book. Art is brilliant. There's this double page spread, which is just awesome, where we get to see about the king, which is just, that is just the most awesome double page spread of the issue. But yeah, art wise the book is magnificent. The story is really great. Really enjoying this. Definitely worth a pick up. I'm going to give Birthright issue number 6 5 stars out of 5. So our final indie book of the week, it is Descender issue number 2. I really like the structure of this issue, because what we've got is we've got the modern day here, where we've got Team 21 and those scavengers, I'm not sure, scrappers have arrived on his colony to try and take him and get salvage for him. And then the other side, we've got him reliving the past. We've got this upload, and we have the past and how he became to be activated, and his link to the Doctor from the first story. And the whole issue is like this. The one side's the modern day, and the other side's the flashback. And we kind of get that all through the issue. And it's really well structured, as it kind of adds more flesh to the character. As we see our character in peril here, we're getting more backstory to him here. So we're becoming more and more invested into this character as the story goes on. And I just really like that structure to the issue. Really interesting. Art-wise, it was really great, and they coloured it so that it differentiated and it didn't get confusing. But I really like the whole structure of this issue. Really interesting. I also liked that at the beginning of the issue you get a really nice recap. So if you did miss issue 1, you could pick it issue 2 and you'd follow it easy, because that fills you in on what's happened. Really great issue already. You know, it's 2 issues in. It feels like we're reading a really special book. I'm just loving this, and I was really amazed how the structure, as you get in your main characters getting in more and more peril, the flashbacks are making you care about him more and more, because they're giving you more kind of backstory. So it was just a really great issue. Art wise, I love it because it has that 2000 AD feel, which is a great feel to have, because they do some of the best sci-fi stories out there in comics. So yeah, all in all, another really great issue, and I give Descender issue number 2 5 stars out of 5. So those are my indie books. Next up, we're going to jump into Convergence as I review the DC books. Well, here we are with the DC portion of the reviews, and this week is the real, though we had issue 0 of Convergence, this is the week where it really kicks off, as we have all the tie-ins as well as our 2-month event really gets going. So first off, we have Convergence. I did really like the wraparound cover. I thought that was really nice, and did kind of make it feel special. I don't know why this was $4.99. I think they could have easily cut some of the story and had it be $3.99. I don't understand the thing. We do get a few more worlds in the back, kind of introduced to us, which I liked. That was good, but still not enough to kind of qualify the $4.99. This issue, we kick it off. I didn't know until I read a review for it that this world that we get at the beginning is the Injustice, Gods Among Us kind of world, and that we get that at the beginning, and then that world is destroyed, and then we kind of start meeting our characters from Earth 2. I like the introduction of the characters from Earth 2. If you hadn't been reading it, or if you read it in the beginning and then dropped off, it introduces them really well. I think that could have been done a bit quicker. I think they stretched it out a bit, but all in all, I like the introduction. We then get Telos being added into it, and he makes his decree, and I did like the kind of the whole thing where he does his decree, and the speech that he issues I liked. But the fact that we get it in every single Convergence book I read this week, by the end of it I was sick of that speech, and I was skipping over it. The negative here is it doesn't feel like we're any further forward than we were last week. It just is a different cast but the same story, which is disappointing considering I paid $4.99 for the book. I would have at least expected us to be a bit further forward. Means the Earth 2 characters are introduced here. I've got a feeling they're going to play a big part in the main story. But yeah, like I say, I left the book a bit disappointed that the story hadn't really moved that forward. The art to this story I do really like, and I think they do some really great moments art-wise here. Yeah, art-wise I liked it, but story-wise, and some of the dialogue as well seemed a bit off, and the story just didn't seem to take us any further forward. So I'm going to give issue 1 of Convergence 3 stars out of 5. So now we get the tie-ins, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, I haven't got a big history with DC. As a kid, my first comic I ever bought was a Batman book. It had Batman and the Riddler on the cover, and that's why I bought it, because I recognised those two characters. But mainly I read Marvel. The only DC books I read Batman, I read Superman, and then as a teenager I got into Green Arrow and Steel. But those were the only DC books I read till 2005. When I got into Infinite Crisis, I started reading Green Lantern and The Flash. I read a book called Day of Vengeance, which was like a book that built up to Infinite Crisis. I read the beginning of 52, the weekly series. So those were the only. Oh, I read Justice League, which was JLA back then, and then they relaunched it as Justice League of America. But those were the only books that I really read, you know, DC-wise, until the 52 kicked off. So I wasn't really that big of a knowledge of pre-New 52. So I picked up Convergence Batgirl, mainly because I really liked the Stephanie Brown character from Batman Eternal, and I really liked the Tim Drake character. So I thought it'd be interesting to see what they were like. So you open the book up, and our first page is Fight for Your City, and we have the worlds that are going to fight. So you've got pre-Flashpoint Gotham City, Inferno, Flashpoint Gotham City, Follywood, California, and New York City, Angor, right? So the story kicks off, and we have Batgirl's been chosen to be the champion of her city, and she's going to fight. And then Catman shows up, and then we have General Grodd shows up, and he attacks Red Robin and Black Bat. We then jump back a year to when this Gotham was first taken, and how Stephanie Brown walked away from being Batgirl to become a better Stephanie Brown and help people more, and it gave her a different perspective on things. And then Brainiac's announcement came, and she became Batgirl again, and then she was chosen to be the champion, and the story kind of ends just before where we begun, and it kind of has come full circle. I enjoyed this issue. I especially enjoyed Stephanie Brown. I don't know how accurate a portrayal this is of the character that people knew before the New 52, but if it is, I feel I can totally understand why so many people were going, we want Stephanie Brown, because she's a really great character. This is a very character-driven issue, as we see what she did during that year, and it really pushes it character-wise. I enjoyed this. The art wasn't the greatest, but maybe it has that more of a retro-y feel, I don't know. But for me, yeah, it wasn't the greatest. All in all, though, it was a good story. It made sense why these characters were in Gotham, which is something we'll come to later. In the back, what I really liked, we have this history of Batgirl and of the characters, though I do feel that would have been more use in the front before I read the story, because it did make some things much more clearer. So yeah, all in all, I enjoyed this, and I really liked this character of Stephanie Brown, and would like to see more of it, which is a shame. We're only going to get her back for a while. It's kind of like teasing you, and I kind of reading this kind of made me think this is a dangerous thing for DC to do, because somebody like myself, I've heard people say, oh, things were better before the New 52, but I only know a lot of these characters from the New 52, so I've enjoyed them as they are. When now you're showing me how they used to be, and if they all kind of turn up to be, well, yeah, things were better before the New 52, that's a dangerous thing to be doing, to like show your readers that things were better way back when. But anywho, I enjoyed this. I thought it was an interesting issue and a good start, very character driven issue, and I'm going to give Convergence Batgirl issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have Convergence, the Titans. I don't understand why it's the Titans. Really, Starfire and Donna Troy are like very much supporting characters here. The main character is Roy Harper, as he's the main character we focus on. Art wise, it does remind me a lot of the Justice League cartoon, the way the art is, and so it definitely does have that retro-y kind of feel. I'm trying to, you can never find a double page spread when you want one, but it definitely reminds me of that kind of style. The art does, which is not a bad thing, because that brings with it a kind of nostalgia. I don't understand why these characters are in Gotham City. Did Roy Harper move there after everything that went down? But why are the two ladies there? You know, and that's never really addressed or identified. And is this the same Gotham that we're seeing in Batgirl? Because that's never addressed, that they're all in the same city. I did like Roy Harper, though. He's a very interesting character, and again, I like the pre-New 52 version much better than the version I've got to know in the New 52. So much has happened to him, and I felt there's a great like double page spread at the opening of the issue that really gives you a quick look into his life and into what he's been through and who he is, and I really like that. At the back, again, we have the kind of thing at the back, which again I argued could have been more useful at the front, but that double page spread helped that along nicely, so that you instantly got to know what this Roy Harper had been through. And like I say, he's a much more interesting character than the New 52 version. The ending is really cool, a great cliffhanger that I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. Again, I don't really understand why this is called Titans and why it's got Starfire and Donna Troy. If you was a Donna Troy fan, I think you'd be disappointed, because she doesn't play that big a part in the story. And really it's a Roy Harper book. But yeah, I enjoyed this though. I enjoyed this overall, and I'm going to give Convergence the Titans issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. So moving right along, next up we have Convergence Speed Force, issue number 1. This features Wally West and his children. Again, the whole thing of why are they in Gotham, it does kind of get addressed, because the issue starts off, you know, before this world is taken, and there's a problem there, so they go to deal with it. So at least with this book, it's kind of dealt with. We jump into the modern day, And we get the whole speech thing here that we get in every issue. Art-wise, I like the art in this book. I thought it was good. And again, I like the Wally West character. He's another character I've heard everybody say, oh, we want Wally West, we want Wally West. And I can understand. As a family man, yet still a superhero, he's a really interesting character. This book feels the most part of an event because we get to see the other places. We get to see what's happened with these other worlds that we see at the beginning here. We get to see some of them. So that really makes it feel part of an event kind of story, which was really good. Loved the cliffhanger at the end. That was really good. Had me really hooked to come back next issue. It's kind of sad reading these books as you come to like characters knowing that after next month they're going to disappear again. And I kind of again question DC's decision to bring the genie out the bottle, because a lot of people could be like, well, your books aren't as good as they used to be. So I think it's a dangerous thing DC are doing, but I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was a good story. It was the story out of the ones I read that most felt like it was part of this event, as we saw the other worlds as well, because being fast, Wally could kind of look around them. I was a bit confused because I thought, wasn't Barry Allen the Flash before Flashpoint? Because wasn't all the whole thing of him going back to stop his mother being killed? So I was a bit confused by that, but overall I enjoyed this, and I'm going to give Convergence Speed Force issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. So our penultimate Convergence book, it is Justice League issue number 1. Again, what I like is that they at least try and explain why these characters are in Gotham City, that they're there to celebrate Jesse Quick's baby shower. So that kind of makes it a good reason why these female characters would all be drawn together. I do like the twist that we've got Mira here from the pre-New 52, who's missing her husband, having been separated for a year from her husband. And we've got the Flashpoint Aquaman, who something happened to his Mira. So kind of he fixated on getting her, so I liked that. I thought the art was very good here. There's a great scene where we have like this sea monster just rise up, which I really liked. So that was good. I liked the mix of characters, and the banter between the characters was really good. You know, I kind of think my thing is like, how do these books tie together? Because you gathering that this Gotham that we're seeing throughout all of the books I've read this week is the same Gotham, but none of the characters seem to be interacting with each other, which is a bit strange. But other than that, I enjoyed this issue. I like the end, and it's a nice little kind of mini series. There wasn't nothing in here that, because like I felt the Mirror we get in the New 52, the Mirror we get here doesn't seem that different. So it didn't kind of make me long for a different character, but I enjoyed this overall. I didn't get what was up with the Yellow Gorilla, but other than that, I enjoyed this, and I'm going to give Convergence Justice League issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. So our final DC book of the week for Convergence, it is Batman and Robin issue number 1. This one wasn't on my pull list. This is one I picked up off the shelf as an extra. Was looking forward to seeing the pre-New 52 Red Hood. Unfortunately, it was a very disappointing issue. I loved the open. The open we get, you know, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc, who's now known as Wayland, Black Mask, and Man-Bat are kind of trying to stop Poison Ivy, who's growing veg for fruit and veg that's keeping Gotham alive, and they kind of want to cut a cut from this. So then Batman and Robin show up to kind of help out Poison Ivy. I know some people might not like her being the damsel in distress, but it's a nice open to the book that gets us to see that Batman and Robin are still Gotham's protectors. Red Hood then shows up, which leads to Damian getting all unnecessarily jealous, and then there's going to be this showdown between Damian and Red Hood, We have the big speech again, and some other characters show up at the end. Again, this doesn't link this Gotham, because the way they're portrayed is that Batman and Robin are the only heroes in Gotham, and that they've kept it safe for a year. Yet, I thought each issue that I've read this week were all supposed to be the same Gotham. So again, that's a bit of a disconnect for me. Disappointing we didn't get more into Red Hood and why he's supposed to have not been around and suddenly has shown up now. Is it still Jason Todd? What's been happening with him? So we don't get a bit there. Damian is the worst of Damian. He's arrogant, he's annoying, and I just didn't like the character here. Really missed the way Peter Tomasi writes him, because he really makes him a much more interesting character. Here he was just plain unlikable. The art also in this is not great. So this, out of the Convergence books, I felt this was the biggest disappointment for me. It felt very generic and by the numbers, and there just wasn't that much here that really grabbed me. Not sure whether I'll get issue 2. Probably will, just to complete it, but at the moment it is 50-50. Didn't enjoy this at all, and I give Convergence, Batman and Robin #1, 2 stars out of 5. So those are the DC books. Next up, it's the pick of the week. So here we are now with the pick of the week, and this week my pick of the week is from Image Comics, and it is Big Man Plans issue #2. I loved the first issue. I think if I bought the first issue the week after it came out, if I'd bought it the week it came out, it would have been my pick of the week as well. This book is just brilliant, and the only negative is that it's only a mini-series, because I'm really loving this book. You can't help but get behind the main character of Big Man. He's this dwarf who's been mistreated all his life, and last issue we kind of got all of his backstory, so we care about the character. This issue we deal with what he's actually doing, what his actual plans are, and he targets these police and he starts taking them out one by one. But they are a step ahead of him after he takes out the first one. We've got the mystery of why he's after these police, which I like, that we don't quite know everything yet, so that's really cool. Some really bad things again happen to Big Man, and you're hoping he's going to come back and get his revenge on these characters, which would be cool. I'd love to see this as an ongoing, and just have him going around avenging the helpless. People that are helpless or defenseless, and that they've been wrong done them, and he's just this avenger that takes out people, would be a really cool kind of book to do. Kind of like the Equalizer, but maybe a bit more violent. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. The art is magnificent, the art and the colour. There's this great moment where he has this flashback to his dad, and there's this great speech. I couldn't help but do it in a southern kind of voice. But there's this great speech that his dad gives him, where he tells about how he got beaten up at school, and his dad goes, "Son, I tell you something, and I want you to listen hard, harder than you've ever listened before. Life, it ain't ever going to be fair to you. Because of your condition, it's worse than any man deserves to be treated. We're told that deep down people are mostly good. But I don't think that's true. I think deep down people just ain't right. And they'll run down a man, make him feel like nothing, if it can make them feel like they're above somebody. And every single man out there is going to be looking down on you. There is the test. A real man takes the hardship of life and he keeps going. A real man don't blame fate for his failure. A real man takes all the pain and the hate the world gives him and spits it right back. A real man will not be kept down. A real man is judged by his heart, not by his height. Never quit, never stop. Promise me, boy. Promise me you ain't ever gonna quit." And that's kind of the theme then that goes through the book. How this speech really resonated with him from his dad, and that's why he never ever is gonna quit. That he's always, while he's got breath in his body, he's gonna keep coming back. So, he goes after this second policeman, but it's a trap, and bad things happen. But as you can see, the art here is just tremendous, and just the way that they change it up as the issue goes on is brilliant. I absolutely love this book. It is just fantastic. I never expected to enjoyed this book as much as I did. It's very violent, definitely not one for the little ones, but yeah, for everyone else, it is a really, really good book. I love that speech. And just all in all, yeah, I think if I'm going to go on with this, I'm going to just keep saying how great it is. But yeah, really, really good. And art-wise, just the whole book is just brilliant. And how the different sections, art-wise and colour-wise, I differentiated it. Brilliant. Really, really good. Definitely recommend it. My pick of the week for the second week of April 2015 is Big Man Plans, issue number 2. So next up, we're going to find out who's the company of the week. Well, welcome to the final part of my video as we do company of the week. What this is every week I take, for example, Marvel, I add the scores I've given the books together, I divide it by the number of books that I've read from that company, and it gives me an average score. And I repeat this with the Indys and with DC, and we kind of look at overall the books this week, who gets the better, who comes out as company of the week. So first up we have in third place, a distant third place, we have DC with a 3.5. Not a real great kickoff to Convergence. We'll see how they do over the next 2 months, whether they can kind of bring out some really great books and kind of push on, but wasn't a good start. In second place with 4.5 we have Marvel. Less books from them, but all of them real quality books. But top dog once again, and I think it's like the second or third week in a row, company of the week is the Indys with a 4.6 average rating. So they come out on top again. So it just seems to be really about the Indys at the moment. So that's pretty much me done. I ordered off eBay the Convergence Superman issue. I got it for a real good price on eBay. I hoped it would get here today, but it hasn't, so I am unable to review it in this video. Hopefully though, I will be able to review it in my next video. If it should have arrived by then, so look for me to review that in my next one. I hopefully will have a haul video up on Wednesday, Thursday, but I'm working both days, and I can't always guarantee I will finish in time to get to the comic shop. So if I haven't picked up my comics by Thursday, there'll be no haul video, you know. But if I do get my books Wednesday or Thursday, there'll be a haul video. So fingers crossed on that. So yeah, that's pretty much me done, everything I got to say. I hope you've all had a great week and you've enjoyed your books. Please, if you agree or disagree with anything I say, use the comments below and let me know. If you enjoyed the video, give me those beautiful thumbs up. Let me know you like what I'm doing. All that leaves me to say is that I've been Jason. These have been my comic book reviews. Bye for now.